Hello and welcome to the University of Law. In today's video I am going to be unboxing and reviewing this Doctor Who The Trials of a Time Lord. So for context, it is 40 years of the 6th Doctor as played by the wonderful Colin Baker. On television he was joined by wonderful classic companions such as Perry and Mel. Mel you might recognise has been back on Doctor Who recently. And they've released two sets this year to celebrate. The first one I reviewed earlier, which was the Quinn Dilemma, which was a play on words from the Twin Dilemma, which was his first televised serial. And now we've got this, The Trials of a Time Lord, which is a play on words from his final televised story, The Trial of a Time Lord. So they've also taken, although it's got the play of that title, it's actually more of a reference to a story called Vengeance on Varos, which I'm sure my viewers will know as Doctor Who fans, was all about the dangers of television and reality television, which has really become more poignant in the years since its broadcast, its initial broadcast. So that's really the theme. So there will be spoilers in this video as a part of my review, but the basic premise is the Doctor, and he discovers quite quickly, I thought it was going to be he wouldn't know till the end, he discovers quite quickly that he is on a television program which is basically designed to put him into situations and watch what happens with different monsters. And they've trapped the Cybermen and they've trapped Davros. And obviously there's a satirical element to it. I was worried when I first heard about it. My concern was it might end up being a little bit like, I know a lot of people like this, but a little bit like The Curse of Fatal Death, which I enjoy as a piece of comedy, but not necessarily as a piece of canon Doctor Who. And I was a bit worried whether it might be a little bit too fourth wall-y to work, but I was wrong, and I'll talk about that as I go through. So let's start by unwrapping, taking the what do you call it, the plastic off, the wrap, if I can. Bear with me. Here we go. Right, I've got that sorted. I'll just simply flip it out. I'll start there for a minute. So we've now got the release, my first time opening it. So it's nice cardboard sleeve. So you can just see from the artwork, we've got Perry, but it's a Perry from later in her life after she has been a warrior queen. We've got Mel, they're still traveling together. I think this is set after Quinn Dilemma, but before the Hebe stories. We've got Davros, and what's interesting now is it's Davros and he's in his Imperial style casing. So it's in that Sixth Doctor Big Finish era, which is between Revelation and Remembrance. And of course we've got the Cybermen, the Cyber leader back, some Cybermen there, looking at the human horror, which was often done in the Sixth Doctor both on television and on audio. They've really played that one in the Sixth Doctor era. On the side, we've got the Sixth Doctor, and interestingly this is the 6th release, which is fitting. And then obviously we've got our little blurb and everything on the back. And if I open it up, and let's get inside. So as always, we do find on the other side we get a original logo version. So it is a 6-part story, so there's 2 parts on each disc. There's different writers, but they're telling one story. And we've got the cast and crew. Notice what David Banks back as the cyber leader. And of course Terry Malloy back as Davros. And then if I go through, we've got episodes 3 and 4, episodes 5 and 6, and adverts for the Quinn Dilemma and some of the Hebe Harrison arc. I'm hoping they bring that character back, although she's played by a very in-demand actress, who I believe is going to be in the new Doctor Who spin-off to television. So my thoughts on the story then. So just to wrap up, so we've done the unboxing now for the review. So as I said, my concern when I heard about it was that it might get a little bit too breaking the fourth wall and a little bit too on the tongue-in-cheek side. But actually, it played the satire really well. I think the first segment of it is about Cybermen, and they really do kind of maximise the body horror of the Cybermen and take that potential people that the Doctor cares about, and we see the true horror of what it means to be a Cyberman. And straight away, you know this isn't going to be. This is this is a proper story, and then there are some moments which are obviously meant to be humorous, but what really wins you over, because what really wins you over is the Master is involved. Not Anthony, John Coleshaw does a brilliant Anthony impression, fantastic impression of that Master. And once that Master's involved, because that Master was quite theatrical, had a lot of theatrical, almost pantomime at times plans. That incarnation of the Master, was very, I think it was that 80s era anyway. It then plays really well into what's happening in the story. So I think at first my concern was like characters like Davros. I was worried about how it would fit, whether it would fit the character. But again, because there's now the Master behind it, it did make a lot of sense. And as I said, the satire worked really well, and it played really well as a sort of spiritual successor of Princess of Varos. So if you're someone who had that worry when you heard about it, I can tell you that I had that worry, and my worry was not required because I really enjoyed it. One thing to make clear is that if you are expecting another piece in the Davros jigsaw, you're not going to get that. I know I mentioned before, like for example, when I did my review of Staff of Legend, the Big Finish is very good at providing steps in the journey, so like the missing points in the journey. So say two things happen on television and joining them up, so like Davros' character development, bits you missed off screen. It's brilliant at that, and it's done some amazing stuff. This isn't a vital piece in the Davros' journey. You're not going to see him creating the Imperial Daleks and starting the Civil War ahead of Remembrance. You're not going to see that. It's very much a standalone thing with that character concern, but that's not a bad thing. There's nothing wrong with having standalone adventures with characters that don't necessarily add anything to the mythos, because Doctor Story doesn't need to do that. It's always great when they do, and you get that extra kind of, as a fan, that extra connective tissue, but that's not required. So it's great to hear Terry Malloy back, and these two Doctor and William pairing work really well together. Master's brilliantly played, and it was a really strong, and the Sixth Doctor story is often up, but a really strong Cyberman story as well, and a great use of the characters as well, and it does keep you guessing. I think there's an element of that in there. It does keep you guessing, and actually the andrograms were really well fleshed out. I should have said, actually, really well fleshed out on television. They work really well. Some nice little references to some of the wider Robert Holmes mythos through that, as they're one of his creations. But again, wonderfully played by John Coleshaw, and a new interpretation of the andrograms as well. So I enjoyed it, and I'd recommend it. But what are your thoughts? Do let me know in the comments below. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Look forward to speaking to you soon.